The entire house feels gloomy because someone is in bed all day. Not only can't she do the household chores, but she can't even look after herself. Such an eyesore. All she does is sleep. I wonder how long she plans to stay like this. Every time they see me, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law complain. Indeed, there's no difference between a wife who does nothing and no wife at all. May, this defeats the purpose of having a wife. Even the father-in-law joins in with the complaints. I am Christy Allen, 32 years old. I've been married for 5 years. My father passed away from illness when I was in high school, and my mother passed away shortly after I got married. I've loved drawing since I was a child and dreamed of becoming a picture book author. After high school, I attended a design school and got a job as an illustrator at a small design firm. I met my husband when he came to our company to commission illustrations for an advertisement. After dating for 2 years, we got married. I also have a sister-in-law. After our marriage, we ended up living with his parents. I became a freelancer, which allowed me to work from home. I did my best with household chores, wanting to be a good wife. My mother-in-law didn't particularly enjoy household chores and told me I could handle them as I liked. My sister-in-law was indifferent about housework. She was always out with her colleagues and friends, so we seldom dined together, but life was smooth. However, everything changed when I had an accident 3 years ago. I fell down the stairs at the station and was seriously injured, resulting in paralysis from the waist down. At first, it was a massive shock, but I've slowly grown accustomed to this new life over 3 years. Initially, my in-laws were sympathetic, but as time passed and they realized I might never stand on my own 2 feet again, their attitude changed. Amidst all this, my sister-in-law married and moved out 2 years ago. Thankfully, I don't have to see you like this anymore, she joked. I could keenly feel my in-laws' resentment toward me. I understand that having someone bedridden in the house is inconvenient, and I couldn't retort to their sarcasm. Our home is old and not wheelchair-friendly, so I'm confined to bed. Fortunately, I can still work from home as before the accident. I'm thankful my upper body is fine, allowing me to work. Currently, I'm cared for by a helper and a housekeeper who assist with my daily needs. If I were living alone, the helper would also assist with household chores, but that's not possible since I live with my family. My husband has work and can't attend to my daily needs, but my in-laws are healthy. My mother-in-law has no physical disabilities or illnesses, and my father-in-law, who turned 65 last year, is now retired. Because there are non-disabled members in the household, our helper isn't allowed to assist with chores like cleaning and shopping. Initially, my in-laws did help a little, but they gradually stopped. I can understand that for my mother-in-law, who dislikes housework, taking care of my needs became too much. My husband used to speak to me kindly at first, but now he barely talks to me and does nothing for me. I have work, and caregiving isn't a man's job. That's all he says. Even if my in-laws don't do anything for me, the helper has regulations, so she can't assist with daily life. But the helper noticed the situation with my in-laws and introduced me to a housekeeper out of concern. Hiring a housekeeper is such a luxury. What are you thinking? But I have personal needs too. If I don't get help with laundry, I will run out of clean clothes. You want to boss me around? Your mother-in-law? That's not it. But given my current condition, I have no choice but to ask. When I said that, my in-laws looked at me as if I was a nuisance. You're such a jinx. We don't have that kind of money. I'll figure something out. I was grateful that I kept working. Eventually, I managed to hire a housekeeper. The housekeeper is a 52-year-old woman named Sally. She lost her husband a long time ago and apparently has no children. She somehow reminded me of my late mother. She's a very kind person who genuinely takes care of me, and I felt so fortunate. Now, the only people I can talk to are Sally and the helper, not my family. As soon as Sally came, my in-laws tried to order her around for their needs. Hey, can you do our laundry and cleaning too? I must decline. Huh? Aren't you a housekeeper? What are you here for? If I were to do that, it would be an additional charge. Will you pay for it? If so, I will do it. What's with this insolent housekeeper? There was such an argument, but Sally firmly declined, which relieved me. After about a year of this life, my sister-in-law returned home due to a divorce. She said her husband cheated on her. Because he's stupid, he got seduced by some woman, right? He was always so noisy. But my mother-in-law was a diligent worker at a big company and seemed very serious. I couldn't imagine him being the type to cheat. I felt something was off, but didn't want to stir up trouble, so I didn't say anything. Having a housekeeper is super lucky. Of course, she will take care of me too, right? My sister-in-law said something similar to my in-laws, but Sally firmly declined. Sally did not think well of my in-laws, who did not say a single kind word to me even when we were together. I won't do that. Huh? Then why are you here? To take care of Christy. What's that about? You are just as useless as your daughter-in-law. It's probably because Sally is trying to save money, but she only earns a little from her side job, so it can't be helped. She is a failure who can't even care for herself. That's why I had no choice but to ask the housekeeper. May and the mother-in-law can care for themselves, so you don't need her, right? They fell silent when I retorted, but the sarcastic comments from my in-laws increased when my sister-in-law came back. A bedridden daughter-in-law is just a nuisance. Now that May has returned, having you here only makes the house cramped. May is all we need. You really have a good deal, just lying in bed making silly doodles to get by. Even while I work, May deliberately comes into my room just to make snide remarks. Every day was a series of these sarcastic comments, and I was so fed up that I spoke to my husband about it. Can you please ask your mother and May to be a little more careful with their words? They hurt me. Well, it's the truth, so it can't be helped. What do you mean by truth? You can't do housework and you just lie in bed all day. I'm working, aren't I? But you're still just lying in bed. It's an easy job. You don't get tired from commuting like I do. That may be true, but I'm trying my best to be useful in whatever way I can. Considering I have a wife who can't do anything around the house, it's no wonder my mother and the others are frustrated. They must see you as a useless wife. Is that really what you think? Just don't let their comments get to you. If you take everything to heart, You'll wear yourself out. With that, my husband didn't seem to care at all about my feelings. I'm already struggling with my condition, and it's disheartening to realize he doesn't consider my feelings at all. There's not a day I don't wish I was healthy, that I could work, that I could move normally. At the very least, I just wanted my husband to understand how heartbreaking and painful that is for me. Is it selfish of me to think that way? Even though I try to hold back, tears always find their way out. I keep telling myself that there are many others in the world who are facing much more challenging situations than I am. Even though I miss having my parents by my side, I'm relieved they don't have to see me like this. However, I feel more and more miserable, thinking that no one in this house is on my side anymore, and I don't even have a home to go back to. All I could think about was whether there was any way for my husband and me to leave this house. One day, my husband dropped a bombshell on me. I've been thinking about what my mother and the others said in my own way. For a moment, I was hopeful, thinking he might have considered my feelings. But his following words were a devastating blow. I've come to realize they are right. What do you mean by as they say? I think I'd be better off with a younger, healthier wife than you. What? Well, I want to hear, but with you, I feel like it's impossible now. It felt like I had been struck on the head with a stick. To hear such words from my own husband. I realized there was nothing more to expect from Tyler. He kept talking, but I couldn't comprehend anything. All I understood was that he wanted a divorce. You're worthless, just like bulky trash. We might be paying for the housemaid from your money, but your earnings aren't that impressive. After paying for the housemaid, there probably isn't much left. You're just a burden in our home. You're like a parasite leeching off of us. Exactly. We even have to pay for the helper. A costly parasite should leave as soon as possible. Hearing all these comments from Tyler and his family, I realized there was no reason for me to stay here anymore. Even if I don't have a home to return to, I can find a new place. I guess I should move out. I decided to ask Sally for help in finding a new place. Thankfully, Sally was eager to assist, and the convenience of online services made it easier to handle procedures. Once everything was settled, I presented Tyler with the completed divorce papers. So you've finally made up your mind, but don't blame me. Blame yourself for being in this condition. Understood. But are you sure about this? Me leaving? Of course I am. I'll find a woman better suited for me. Everyone says I could find a better wife. Don't worry about me. My father's retirement money is still available, and May said she got a hefty alimony. We won't have any financial issues for a while, so I don't need to rely on you anymore. Okay. Do as you please then. I thought Tyler was losing sight of reality but chose not to comment. With that, I left my in-laws' house. There were some benefits to living alone. If I didn't have family support, helpers could assist with daily tasks. They could handle chores, shopping, and more. I was truly grateful. Still, I asked Sally to visit me. She used to be a career woman in a major company, skilled with computers. She quit due to the competitive environment after getting married. That's a story from 20 years ago. She chuckled. I felt her previous career influenced her strong stance against my in-laws. Now, she's more of a manager for my work, a huge help. My new apartment is wheelchair accessible with a spacious kitchen. As I started to adapt to my new life, I began receiving relentless calls from my mother-in-law, but I had nothing more to say on my end. I decided to completely ignore it and left the phone untouched. With Sally's cooperation and compared to working amid the sarcasm of my in-laws, my work progressed significantly. I had more work to do and had no time to deal with my mother-in-law. That was part of it. And so, a year passed. While it wasn't as frequent as before, I still received calls from my mother-in-law. Now that my life had settled down, I thought it might be time to settle things, so I answered the call. Hello? Finally! Why haven't you been answering my calls? I thought something might have happened and was worried. She suddenly spoke to me in a cajoling tone. I had never received such words of concern when we lived together. Well, I guess she probably found out the truth and was at loss, which is why she contacted me. I wondered how she had been living this past year. Thank you for your concern, but I'm perfectly fine and living a healthy life, so please don't worry. Ah, that's good, but, yes? Would you consider living with us again, like before? Why would you want to live with a parasitic, large trash like me? There's no benefit to it. I've reconsidered many things. I can't just leave someone with a disability like you. From now on, we'll take good care of you, so you won't have to worry. I'm fine living alone. I have a helper who assists with my daily life, so I get help with cleaning, laundry, and shopping. Plus, Sally helps me with work, so there's no issue at all. About that job, is it true you earn more than Tyler? Yes, it's true, but it seems Tyler forgot about that when we were divorcing. Tyler mentioned you earned close to 1.5 million yen per month. The household expenses of the in-laws were covered by my income. My health started deteriorating, and initially, the in-laws helped out. Coupled with the downturn in my husband's business and reduced salary, it was fortunate my earnings increased. That's why I offered to help. My husband initially expressed regret. I kept it a secret knowing that the in-laws would worry about the reduced salary. However, as this lifestyle continued for nearly 3 years, my husband's realization of my contribution seemed to fade. I did consider his earnings when divorcing, but chose not to bring it up. Furthermore, I knew the reason for my sister-in-law's divorce wasn't her husband's infidelity, but hers. I was informed by my brother-in-law. He also told me she took his money without his knowledge, claiming it was compensation for the divorce. He assured he would reclaim the money and seek damages. I wanted to divorce before the in-laws' family knew about it. When I confronted my mother-in-law with this, she was speechless for a while. Tyler got involved with a girl from a club and even racked up debts. So, is that why he wanted a divorce? Maybe he was counting on her earnings. There's no way he could count on that. Firstly, they weren't even dating. She was just one of the customers. Makes sense. Did you know about this? Yes, I knew all about it. Why didn't you tell me? Did you also know that Tyler's company was in trouble? Of course. How could you stay silent knowing all that? That's terrible. Furthermore, according to my ex-mother-in-law, The sister-in-law ran away with her lover, but in the end she was dumped, took on even more debt, and came back crying. My ex-husband's company went bankrupt 6 months ago. He's job hunting now, but he's being picky and remains unemployed. He's lost all his confidence and seemed to be in a state of self-isolation. Thanks to those two living together, there's hardly any of the father's retirement money left. On top of that, there's still debt. Is that so? So, if you come back, Christy, everything will be resolved. I don't understand what you mean at all. I really didn't understand what would resolve everything. Moreover, I couldn't comprehend how they could kick me out and now I ask for such a thing. I wondered if things could change so much in just a year. You're back sooner than I expected. My husband probably never imagined his company would actually go bankrupt. It's just like him to be so indifferent to everything. Even though his mother tearfully claims that had he known, he wouldn't have let me go. It feels too little too late. Moreover, all she talks about is money. They only care about their own livelihood. I heard my sister-in-law is not in the mood to work and just stays home, eating and sleeping, gaining weight rapidly. We sold the house to pay off their debts. The family home was quite old, had little value as a building, and was in a terrible location. After expenses for clearing the land were deducted, they didn't get much for it. Now they're all crammed into a single-room cheap apartment, living a tough life. My former in-laws work multiple part-time jobs from dawn till dusk and are exhausted every day. Over the phone, my mother-in-law cried bitterly. All of this happened because you never answered your phone. If only we could have contacted you before selling the house. What do you mean? You would have helped us if you knew we were selling the house, right? After all, you lived there too. You must have some attachment to it. Not at all, actually. Huh? Their mindset always expecting things to work out in their favor. It's just baffling. I'm glad I never picked up the phone. Even if I had, I wouldn't have gone along with any of this. Oh, so both Tyler and May are, leeching off of you and Lenny, huh? Please come back. You're the only one we can rely on now, Christy. No, I'm a complete stranger now, so you can't rely on me. Don't say that. We were the ones in the wrong. We apologize. Let's use your money to build a barrier-free house for everyone and live happily together. I can't fathom why she would suggest such a thing. It's giving me a headache. I thought I should give her one last notice and end this conversation. I refuse. Oh, but the reason I answered your call today is that I wanted to inform you of something. Inform? I will be suing all of you for damages. Huh? Why would we need to pay damages? It's not for infidelity. It's for the emotional distress caused by the verbal abuse from you all. What? When I told her that I had recorded all of the abusive words from my former in-laws and had all the evidence, she seemed to panic and hurriedly hang up the phone. Did she think I would ask for something else if we kept talking? It reminded me of the saying about people with skeletons in their closets. Afterward, when I claimed compensation through my lawyer, they tearfully begged to forgive the debt, given their current circumstances. That's what my lawyer told me. Naturally, I had no intention of agreeing. I've recently been given the chance to illustrate a children's book. It's a step closer to my dream of becoming a children's book author. A lot has happened, but I want to keep pushing forward without indulging myself and live life with a positive attitude.